Want to know who Franklin's character is inspired by? It's this guy, Rick Ross. No, seriously, he's an imposter. Here's the real Rick Ross. Late 20th century drug lord Ricky Donnell Ross was born on January 26, 1960 in Troop, Texas. He is better known as Freeway Rick. In 1963, Ross moved to Los Angeles, California with his mother, Annie Mae Malden, who came from a sharecropping family. Ross attended school at Susan Miller Dorsey High School, considered the Black Beverly Hills of the Los Angeles area. He worked several jobs and initially avoided gang membership and violence. While at Dorsey High School, he played for the tennis team but was unable to get a college scholarship because officials learned he was a functional illiterate. Ross briefly attended Los Angeles Trade Technical College, where he first engaged in illegal activity. He joined a network of auto thieves known as the Freeway Boys and became part owner of a chop shop which dealt in stolen vehicles. In addition to being a co-owner, he began spending time with his upholstery teacher at the community college, who revealed that he dealt cocaine and offered Ross a small amount to sell. Ross used his profit to purchase more cocaine to sell, expanding his small operation. Ross eventually began to ask for quantities to sell that exceeded what the teacher was willing to procure, so he began to look for a new dealer. The teacher referred Ross to his supplier, Ivan Arguelles. He offered to keep Ross supplied. Arguelles was able to provide larger quantities at a better price, and Ross quickly went from dealing in grams of cocaine to dealing in ounces. About 8 months after becoming Ross's supplier, Arguelles was shot in the spine, resulting in months of hospitalization that forced him out of the cocaine business. His brother-in-law, Henry Corrales, took over the business. A Nicaraguan exile and cocaine distributor named Danilo Blandón was acquainted with Arguelles and Corrales, and although he did not know him personally, was impressed with the amount of cocaine that Ross was moving. Blandón offered to supply cocaine to Corrales to sell to Ross for a 50-50 split of the profits. Eventually, Corrales lost his appetite for the cocaine business and retired, at which point Ross became a direct customer of Blandón. His market was now national, including Seattle, New York City, Miami, as well as Los Angeles, just to name a few. Ross did not use drugs himself, but invested his profits in legitimate businesses such as the Freeway Motors Inn and flipping residential property. By 1982, Ross had received his moniker of Freeway Ricky and claimed to have sold up to $3 million worth of cocaine per day and purchasing 1,000 pounds of cocaine a week. Due to his rising profile in the drug business, the Freeway Rick Ross Task Force was created in 1985 by local, state, and federal authorities to end his operation, especially after U.S. officials realized Blandón smuggling led to one major customer, Rick Ross. In 1988 and 1989, drug trafficking charges were brought against Ross in Texas, Ohio, and California. In November of 1989, he was captured by Los Angeles police. He pled guilty to drug trafficking charges and received a 10-year sentence, which was shortened to 4 by his agreeing to cooperate with the U.S. Department of Justice. They wanted to find corrupt police officers in the task force. After release, Ross decided to use a theater he'd purchased as an outreach center, beginning his career as a philanthropist. However, Blandón, who had been persuaded to become an informant for the DEA, provided testimony that convicted Ross a second time of more serious charges on March 2, 1995. Ross was given a life sentence. He used his prison time wisely. He learned how to read and then studied law to beat the system and get his sentence reduced to 20 years. He was released September 29, 2009. Ross has been a key figure in the controversial Dark Alliance article written by Gary Webb that argued a government conspiracy led by the CIA to exchange arms for drugs from Central America helped fuel the nationwide crack epidemic of the 80s. The next video we put out will be on Gary Webb, so if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that now. This guy committed suicide by shooting himself in the head not once, but twice. Exactly. I'm thinking the same thing you are.